It's been a while, hasn't it? Also, I'm recording in one room of my house, and other members of my family are watching TV in another room. So I'm hoping this recording comes out okay. But you know, this is just a casual thing. So if you hear the dialogue from a completely different TV show, oops, this is never meant to be a professional recording affair. Um, So before I get into it, I'm going to say that I keep forgetting to mention how I have gone back and in the description of each prior episode of the files, I have put a theme song that I recommend for each character. I at one point had the idea to like play a little bit of the song in each recording, but then that would get half of them muted in various countries, and it would be a pain to edit together. And so, I'm just gonna link you to go on your own time and listen to it, and see if you agree with me or not that it works for them. Though today is actually, at this moment, I'm even like kind of waffling because I have about three different really good theme songs for him. We are talking today about the scary boy. The one I really wanted to get recorded in time for Halloween is Ayam, Aghoul from the Aladdin series, same as Mosenrath. Unfortunately, the two of them never canonically interacted, which is a shame because I'm sure that they would have been besties and we would have gotten a team up episode that rivaled the Abysmal Mechanicles team up episode. And might not even have fallen out so badly in the end. Um, though, as I'm thinking about it, Mosenrath did get to team up with Mukhtar for one episode. Yes, they did fall out horribly. That's still one of my favorite episodes, and the Mukhtar kind of did work his way back into the WHAM Army, so I can't be too mad. That said, you got a couple of sorcerers, you know, showing off their stuff, bombastic, larger than life. Both of them are necromancers. One of them is very definitely straight, and one of them is very definitely not. That's that's headcanon conjecture. You can disagree with me, but that's the extreme vibe I get. But anyhow, Aghoul actually has an interesting role in the series because he's not really consistent in his motivation. When I write him, I kind of distill it back to the motivation of his intro episode, but really the only consistency is that he is trying to escape the netherworld where he is trapped, but what he intends to do when he's outside the netherworld varies per episode. The first time he shows up is an absolute Beetlejuice homage. He has gotten himself engaged to Jasmine in a corpse bride style ritual that no one knew they were carrying out, and he's like, well, another wife to add to the collection, and he basically is trying to steal Jasmine from her friend's family and current boyfriend so that she can serve him as his wife for all eternity, along with a harem of skeletons that he brings along for the ride. Um, and right away you get introduced, he's going to be surrounded by gothic imagery. He's going to have the skeletons. He has skulls that he uses as weapons. They're exploding skulls, skull bombs, which is amazing. So then after that, he kind of loses the Jasmine motivation after his first defeat. Um, he is sent back to the Netherworld, so you get 3 more episodes with him. One of them has him simply trying to escape the Netherworld and, kill anyone he finds on the way. Because the premise is that Yago and Abu got themselves transported into the Netherworld, and he's like, oh, I can use the portal they use, but I have to take them out first. And so there's the intrigue. Uh, I don't I don't know if I'm saying these in order of when they're supposed to be, because they were never aired in the correct order. So I'm just gonna say the third wasn't necessarily the third episode though. Has him not only trying to escape the netherworld, and he succeeds, but trying to resurrect an entire crew of necromancers with whom he has a mysterious past. And it's never really explained how he knows the sorcerers of the Black Viper, and this is one of the many, 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 many reasons that I would love that I would love a kind of a prequel series to flesh out the lore, like a Silmarillion of Agrabah. They could do one. They laid down enough breadcrumbs. There is some history in that world that we never got explained. Anyhow, tries to basically start a zombie apocalypse with his old necromancer friends who are now also necromanced. Gets stopped, and then I'm going to say the fourth episode because this is maybe the most fitting one is his finale. He takes over the realm where shadows live. And it turns out that if a shadow is separated from its human for too long, then the human will die. So Aghoul is abusing his position as the new god of shadows that he usurped. He is going to steal everyone's shadow so everyone in Agrabah dies. So you get this big range of, he wants to kidnap the female lead of the show and force her to be his wife and all that entails. I probably should have slapped a trigger warning at the beginning of this. If you've made it this far, we are going to be discussing a character who's a chauvinist, a pervert, and doesn't understand the boundaries of consent. So if that's not great for you, then you can hop out now. Now, but he goes from this to, trying to benefit himself, to trying to gain territory, to trying to outright destroy. He's all over the board, and really, he just seems to be doing, at any given time, whatever is the nastiest. And I think, he doesn't need motivation consistency, because that's the point of him, is he's undead, he's a zombie. Everything about him is supposed to be gross and nasty. He claims he's never even been alive. This is a character that's kind of meant to be an embodiment of pure evil, but not like your end of the world JRPG final boss type. This is more of a kooky, humorous take on the idea of a creature that just is out to do whatever's the worst. And it ends up being a real fun time. He's the only other member of the original Sorcerer's Society that I haven't spoken of yet. If you don't know what the Sorcerer's Society is, it is an alliance that was created during the animated villain tournament trend, started by GA Villain, continued by Manwu and 73 Woodman, and is an alliance of Mad Madam Mim, Yzma, Mosenrath, and Ayam Aghoul. So we all kind of shared a liking for Aghoul, and he was really only in 4 episodes of the series. He's about half the screen time of Mosenrath. So, for us to come together over him, I know Manwu at one point had said, I swear I remember Aghoul being in more than 4 episodes. How can it only be 4 episodes? And we've all confirmed he was only in 4 episodes, and he made such a big impact on us by being just a sadist and a doofus at the same time. Because, he's a very wacky character. Half of the humor around him is puns about death. Like, this is to die for, that kind of thing. And it's so stupid, and it's all dad jokes is what it is. And it's wonderful. It kind of intersperses a lot of levity into what might otherwise be a series-breaking, angst-bringing character if they played him a different direction. And I think the end result really mixes well together, is you have, when he shows up, you're like, oh, it's going to be a good episode. The small episodes are usually, they have stakes, but you don't take the guy seriously. You take Ayam Aghoul seriously, though. But at the same time, you're going to have a little more little more to laugh at than a Mirage episode. A Mirage episode is just gonna have you on the edge of your seat, like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And it's really just a great middle ground. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is when I say I try to kind of distill his motivation back to square one. The episode of the forced marriage was, it left an impact on me. Like, that sort of thing in real life is one of my greatest fears and revulsions, but as I've gone on in fandom life, I've realized that I kind of have soft spots for completely fictional token perverts on a team. Like, it's really hit home for me when I was playing the Danganronpa trilogy, out of all things. You'll see how this is connected. And there's some whammers in there. I'll talk about them later. The character I'm never going to get to do in these files, because he is straight up not a villain, walked out of it. My favorite was Kazuichi Soda. And I'm like, I don't know how to explain myself, because because he's very, very much the r/nice guy of the group. But he has other qualities that bolster him, and that's what made me like him to begin with. But the perviness doesn't quite detract, if that makes sense. So then, as I progress through more looking back at 90s animated series, because there's so much gold there, started watching Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and, XR is one of my husbandos now. So, and if you don't know Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, XR is the team robot. He's like the comic relief sidekick, though he gets some moments of depth. And despite being a robot, a machine, not possessing the biological attributes of organics, he is incredibly interested in women. And you can extrapolate kind of where the humor goes from there. And at this point, I'm starting to notice the pattern. Like, I already had Aghoul, and now I got Kazuichi and XR on the hero side, and I'm like, there is something to me about the fictional pervert. Like, this is the kind of guy I can't stand in real life. And, I say guy because that's all I've ever met or observed have those tendencies, but, other genders who act like that also would probably make me incredibly uncomfortable, yes. But, despite my aversion to all that in the real sphere, I wonder if maybe, in the fiction sphere, it kind of allows me to take back the power a little bit. Like, oh, now I control the chauvinist pervert. I can make him do what I want. I can make him get punched a lot. And it kind of turned into this trait that I find utterly nasty and scary, really being endearing to me on a fiction scale. Like, I wouldn't say that I just love every pervert character. Like go back to Danganronpa. I cannot stand Teruchiru Hanamura because that's literally all there is to him, and it gets more disgusting as you go on. And this is not a Danganronpa analysis, so I'm not going to go for that. But I'm just saying, if they've, if it's a character, usually male, who's got a little bit of a slimy side to him, and then there's other things about him that make him endearing, bombastic, kind of comical, then I'll be like, yeah, I like this dude. We gotta have him here. If only for the other characters to constantly make fun of how horny he is, and try to get him to shut up about it. We gotta have that. Now, I've made it very clear through these episodes that I am very asexual. That is that is not up for dispute. That said, you know, I had wondered. I thought Aghoul was an outlier in some respects because if you look at the core WHAM, I can tell you what I have in common with most of them. There's a little bit of me in pretty much each of them. Maybe the furthest one from it is Huntsman, who will be the episode after this. But he gets a pass because he's a mega nostalgia villain that I had with a friend from my childhood. And so it feels like there's a little piece of me in there with him. Aghoul, though, I was like, what about him? I got nothing in common with him. Well, the puns. I have the puns. But I've lightened up on puns over the years. Still lose it at them. But it's like, I got Mim's energy. I got Yzma's exasperation and propensity to end up in slapstick. I got Mosenrath's rigidity and need to be in control of situations. But Aghoul, I am not a pervert. I am not horny. I am very ace. We know that. And so it really only came about that I realized later that sometimes character flaws don't have to be one-to-one to still appeal. This might be the other reason that this type of character appeals to me, is I, in the past, have definitely erred on the side of the nice girl, capital N, capital G, and a bit of a stalker. I did not want anything to do with the horny side of it, but romance. I wanted romance. I wanted to be the other half of a couple with at least one person. I'm going to try to keep it vague so I don't delve too much in that, because this is about me, not any of them. But it's like I would set my sights on someone, regardless of whether or not we were close or he was available, and start playing blondies one way or another, because that's what would end up happening. And so, as soon as I unblocked these memories and admitted that I actually used to do that, I'm like, it makes a lot more sense now. It makes a whole lot more sense now that I gravitated to Ayam Aghoul, because his thing with Jasmine, it's a much nastier exaggeration, but I do know the broad stroke mood, and as with all my other villains, it's a good reminder of what traits to not let get out of hand. Because now I know, this could be me in another timeline. This could be me in this timeline if I don't keep myself in check. So we're gonna not creep on dudes. Is what we're gonna do. Thank you, Ayam Aghoul, for modeling exactly what I shouldn't do. Now, I won't go too much into how I met him, because it's basically the same thing as with Mosenrath. I know I watched the show when I was a kid, and then we revitalized him in tournament culture, and it's same story, same song and dance. So, you can fill in the blanks there. From there, I guess I've really loved having him as the monster representation in the core. Because I like monsters. I like characters who are villainous and, kind of gross. And I'm trying to think of broad stroke attributes, but I keep coming back to just saying if he reminds me of Moreau from Resident Evil, he's gonna be. But no, Aghoul really is the template, and is the root off which characters like Moreau or the Furies from God of War branched. He's undead, he ain't human, and that's really fun. And like I said, he's nasty, and that's really fun. So having him join the WHAM. First of all, I've actually let him have some girlfriends, primarily Mim, a couple others too, Hecate from the Hercules series, and Velma Green from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Because come on, look at the four of them and tell me this is not the powered goth polycule. And so, kind of let him indulge a little bit, like, as long as you respect the other villain girlfriends you get, and you take the lumps when they slap you for being gross, I will let you actually have some villain girlfriends. But this has to be an equal relationship here. You cannot skeletonize them and make them do your dirty work. That's not allowed here. You can attempt to do that to heroes. You will be stopped. I've still had him carry that torch for Jasmine. So far, the opposing Cinnamons, the hero team, have done a pretty good job of stopping him. And I really love Jasmine, so they're going to continue to do a really good job of stopping him. But ultimately, this is also a place where, he gets to have his team-up episode. He's hanging with another necromancer from the Seven Deserts. He's found Mim, which is a horrible combination. And they're both just trying to wreck everything because it's funny. And ultimately, he gets kind of the same fulfillment of friendship out of it that all the others get. But like I said, I also, I finally did let him have girlfriends that he can keep. So long as he gets it when they slap him. So I think that's all that I have to say for Aghoul, actually. This is probably going to be one of my shorter episodes. We have one core left. Huntsman is next, and then after that, Brave New Territory. But I know it's been a while. I am really quite busy with several aspects of my life, but this series is not over until I say it's over. Even if the hiatus is long, I can always come back to it. So never give up hope. Anyway, Halloween is coming, and I hope that everyone out there is ready to embrace their scary sides, because in all of us there is a nasty little zombie throwing skull bombs, and Halloween is when we let the nasty little zombie out to throw his skull bombs metaphorically and harmlessly in a safe and playful environment. Happy fall, y'all!